Hi guys! Today looks like a wonderful day to have a closer look at ocean creatures we find on the coast. It is best to wait for a low tide so one can explore where the ocean washed a few hours earlier. I will have a closer look at them and share what I know. Some creatures are so fascinating and have specially adapted to survive and thrive in this underwater world. So stick around, let's start exploring. If you have any questions or you would like to share some information regarding today's finds, please let us know in the comments. Okay, let's see what we can find. I will start searching for marine invertebrates called echinoderms, which means spiny-skinned animals. They include animals like sea urchins, sea stars, brittle stars, sea cucumbers, and sand dollars. Echinoderms generally have a body plan that is radially symmetrical, meaning their body parts are arranged around a central axis. This results in a 5-point symmetry, which is evident in the 5 arms of a starfish and in the radial arrangement of spines and tube feet on a sea urchin. Echinoderms have tube feet, which are small, flexible appendages that are part of their water vascular stem. These tube feet are used for movement, feeding, and respiratio. The term echinoderms refers to their spiny skin, which is covered in calcareous plates and provides protectio. Okay guys, let our day begin by searching some tide pool for our first echinoderms, the starfish. Starfish are star-shaped echinoderms belong to the class Asteroidea. Starfish, or sea stars, are such amazing creatures. Starfish species inhabit all of the world's oceans, from tide pools all the way down to at least 6,000 meters or 20,000 feet in tropical and cold water oceans. Most species of starfish are generally predators, eating microalgae, sponges, bivalves, snails, and other small animals. The crown of thorns starfish consumes coral polyps, while other species are detritivores feeding on decomposing organic material. Let's have a closer look at starfish. Starfish walk by using a network of tiny tube feet called podia and are relocated on their underside. These tube feet are controlled by a water vascular system, allowing them to move by filling and emptying with water. They can also use their tube feet to attach to surfaces and even bounce for faster movement. The tip of their arms, where the tube feet are concentrated, are also highly sensitive and help them detect changes in their environment. Most starfish have a simple, compound eye at the end of each arm. These eyes are made up of many individual light-sensing cells called ommatidia. They don't allow for detailed vision like humans, but they do help the starfish navigate their surroundings. The body wall of a starfish is made up of multiple layers of tissue. The epidermis, or the outer layer of the body wall, contains hair-like projections called secilia, where the dermis, the layer beneath the epidermis, contains connective tissues and a calcareous skeleto. Right at the end of this arm is where the starfish simple eye is located. Each arm of the starfish has a single eye. The eyes are actually called eye spots. Let's move up a bit. This tiny spot on the upper part of the body is called the madreporite. It is off-center on a starfish. You can see this spot quite clearly on the common sea star. The madreporite is a small, light-colored, button-like structure. It acts as an opening that filters seawater into the starfish's water vascular system, which is crucial for its movement and feeding. The water enters the madreporite and is then distributed through a network of canals within the starfish's body, ultimately reaching the tube feet. We can have a look at how starfish move underwater speeded up 3 times. This starfish decided to walk over the camera and quickly realized it does not feel like the ocean floor it is used to. I am going to search for sea urchins now. But look at this shipwreck I found on the way to the tide pools. I would love to find out more about the history of this wreck. Enough of that the tide is low, and it's the perfect time to start our search. Sea urchins are echinoderms in the class Echinoidea. There are about 950 species of sea urchins inhabiting all oceans and depth zones. They typically have a globular body covered in spines for protection and movement. Sea urchins move slowly, crawling with their tube feet, and sometimes pushing themselves with their spines. They feed primarily on algae, but also eat slow-moving animals such as crinoids and sponges. Their predators include sharks, sea otters, starfish, wolf eels, and triggerfish. Fossil records of the echinoids dates from the Ordovician period, some 450 million years ago. The closest echinoderm relatives of the sea urchin are the sea cucumbers. To hold a sea urchin safely, it's best to use tongs or strong gloves to avoid contact with their spines. Some sea urchins, like diadema urchin, have venom-coated spines. Okay, let's have a closer look at the sea urchin. Sea stars, crinoids, brittle stars, sea cucumbers, and sand dollars are all members of the phylum Echinodermata. As such, their basic body plans are remarkably similar, even though they may look quite different. As you can see, the urchins have similar tube feet, as the starfish perform the same basic functions. The sea urchin shell, also called a test, is a hard, protective outer skeleton. It composes of fused plates of calcium carbonate and provides a rigid structure that shields the urchin's internal organs. The test is made up of 10 fused plates, resembling slices of an orange. These plates are interconnected and form a complex armor-like structure. Denuded of its many spines, the shell reveals an attractive symmetry of 5 rows of knobby radial lines and a multitude of tiny pores. When the urchin is alive, the knobs act as ball and socket-like joints, allowing the spines to move. The tiny holes are openings for its hundreds of minute tube feet. The peristome is the area where the mouth is located, and it's typically found on the underside oral surface of a sea urchin. The peristome is crucial for feeding, as it houses the mouth and the jaw apparatus Aristotle's lantern used to scrape algae and break down food. It also plays a role in respiration through the gills. The peristome includes 5 pairs of modified tube feet, and in many species, 5 pairs of gills. The periproct is often bordered by a ring of hard plates. The periproct is located on the upper surface, which is opposite the mouth peristome. This opening is also the opening for waste expulsi. Oh, let's move on to brittle stars. Brittle stars are fascinating creatures that live in oceans all around the world. They may look like starfish, but they're actually a part of a different group called echinoderms, which also includes sea urchins and sea cucumbers. And like starfish, brittle stars have long, slender arms that they use to move quickly across the ocean floor. These arms are highly flexible and can even shed off if threatened, a process called autotomy, which helps them escape predators. They come in many colors, from bright reds and yellows to deep purples, and can be found in shallow waters or deep ocean environments. So, next time you see a brittle star, remember it's not just a starfish with longer arms, but a master of speed and survival. The The last echinoderm I will search for today is sea cucumbers. Look at this beautiful red sea cucumber we found in the tide pool. Sea cucumbers are unique marine animals that play an important role in the health of the ocean. While they might not look like much at first glance, they are incredibly fascinating creatures. Part of the echinoderm family, which includes starfish and sea urchins. Sea cucumbers get their name from their long, cylindrical bodies that resemble, you guessed it, cucumbers. They live on the ocean floor, often in shallow coastal waters, but can also be found in the deep sea. Sea cucumbers are known for their ability to eat the ocean floor. They feed by ingesting sediment, extracting nutrients from it, and then pushing out the leftover material. This process helps recycle organic matter and keeps the ocean floor clean. One of their most surprising defense mechanisms is their ability to expel their internal organs when threatened, a process known as evisceration. Don't worry, these organs regenerate. This helps them escape predators like fish or crabs. There are over 1,700 species of sea cucumbers, ranging in color from bright oranges and reds to deep purples and greens. They play a critical role in ocean ecosystems, breaking down organic material, which helps maintain the balance of the ecosystem. Though they're not a common sight for most beachgoers, sea cucumbers are crucial for the health of marine environments. So, the next time you see one of these strange, squishy creatures, remember they're not just floating around. They're working hard to keep the ocean clean. For the next part of our expedition, we will search for the more commonly found mollusk in tide pools. Mollusks or mollusks are a diverse group of invertebrate animals in the phylum Mollusca. They're one of the largest animal groups in the world, with over 85,000 recognized species and many more yet to be discovered. Think of them as soft-bodied animals, many of which have shells. Here's a quick breakdown of the main types of mollusk. Gastropods, commonly known as snails and slugs. Bivalves. Bivalves is an aquatic mollusk which has a compressed body enclosed within a hinged shell, such as oysters, mussels, and scallops. Cephalopods. Cephalopods are some of the most fascinating and intelligent creatures in the ocean. They belong to a class of mollusks called Cephalopoda, which includes animals like octopus, squids, cuttlefish, nautiluses. Some cephalopods, like the nautilus, are hard to find as they inhabit depths ranging from about 160 to 1,970 feet, or 50 to 600 meters. I decided to search through all of these millions of shells on the beach, and I managed to find a nautilus shell to show you what it looks like. The nautilus is a distant cousin to squids, octopi, and cuttlefish. Unlike its color-changing cousins, though, the soft-bodied nautilus lives inside its hard external shell. The shell itself has many closed interior chambers or compartments. The animal resides in the shell's largest chamber, while the other chambers function like the ballast tanks of a submarine. This is the secret to how the nautilus swims. Polyplecophorans. Polyplecophorans, also known as chitons, are a class of mollusks that are kind of like the armored tanks of the seashore. They're marine animals, and their most distinctive feature is their 8 overlapping shell plates that run along their back. These plates give them a cool, segmented look, but their body underneath is actually not segmented. Okay, let's look at the first mollusk on our list, gastropods. From tide pools to forest floors, the world is crawling literally with gastropods. These squishy, slow-moving creatures are part of the mollusk family and include familiar faces like snails and slugs, as well as some wild ocean cousins like sea hares and nudibranchs. They're one of the most successful animal groups on Earth, with over 60,000 known species and many more still waiting to be discovered. Gastropods get their name from two Greek words, gastro meaning stomach and pod meaning foot. That's because they seem to glide on their bellies using a large, muscular foot. Most of them have a single, coiled shell for protection, like land snails. But some, like slugs and sea slugs, have either lost their shell completely or evolved into new, sometimes bizarre, shapes. What really sets gastropods apart is their feeding tool, the radula. It's a ribbon-like tongue covered in rows of microscopic teeth like a living cheese grater. Some gastropods use it to scrape algae off rocks, while others drill into the shells of prey. In fact, the radula is one of the most versatile tools in the animal world. Gastropods are incredibly adaptable. They live on land, in fresh water, and in all parts of the ocean, even in the deep sea. On land, they breathe air using a lung-like structure. In water, most use gills. Some species, like the sea slug Elysia chlorotica, can even photosynthesize, stealing chloroplasts from the algae they eat and turning sunlight into energy. Basically, they're part animal, part solar panel. Without speed or strength, many gastropods rely on chemical defenses. Nudibranchs, for example, are some of the ocean's most colorful creatures, and that color is often a warning. They can absorb toxins from their prey and use them for self-defense. Others produce mucus to glide away or even confuse predators. Whether they're hiding under leaves or gliding through coral reefs, gastropods are masters of survival. Their unique body design, feeding tools, and incredible adaptability have helped them thrive for over 500 million years. So next time you see a snail or slug, take a moment. There's way more going on than meets the eye. The next type of mollusks we will have a closer look at is cephalopods. The cephalopods we can expect to find here will be octopus and cuttlefish. The squid and nautilus will require some deeper diving in the ocean. To find some octopus and cuttlefish, I am going to put on my snorkeling gear and look under ledges where they tend to hide and spends its days stalking crabs, clams, and fishes. Cephalopods are some of the coolest, most mind-blowing animals in the ocean. They're a class of mollusks known for being highly intelligent, fast-moving, and often equipped with tentacles, color-changing skin, and even ink defense. I found this octopus hunting for crabs on the tide pool ledge, and its first response was to shoot ink at me, as this is one of their natural ways to escape a potential predator. Not all octopus are safe to touch. Like the blue ring octopus has a really venomous bite, but this one is friendly. Holding this octopus is honestly wild. It's like a mix of science fiction and nature magic all in one. I can best explain holding the octopus as follows. The body, called the mantle, feels kind of like a firm, smooth jelly. Not slimy, but slick and rubbery. When the arms wrap around you, those little suckers latch on gently at first, then more curiously. You'll feel a series of tiny little pops as they grip and release your skin. Since they're cold-blooded, they feel a bit chilly, especially if you're in warm air or tropical water. I will come back to looking at the tide pool cephalopods soon. I noticed a pod of dolphins swimming past and would love to share the special moment with you. Dolphins are like the charismatic superstars of the ocean, intelligent, playful, and full of personality. Dolphins are marine mammals that belong to the cetacean group, which also includes whales and porpoises. Most dolphins are part of the family Delphinidae, the oceanic dolphins, which includes about 90 species. Famous ones include the bottlenose dolphin, orca killer whale, yep, it's the largest dolphin, and spinner dolphin. Let's get back to the octopus. Watching an octopus swim is like seeing a creature from another world. The primary way an octopus swims is by jet propulsion. The octopus draws water into a cavity in its body called the mantlet, then forcefully squeezes the water out through a narrow tube called the siphon. This jet of water pushes the octopus in the opposite direction, like a squishy little rocket. It's fast, sudden, and usually used when the octopus wants to escape danger. Octopuses can aim their siphon in different directions, letting them steer while jetting around. It gives them 360-degree maneuverability. While jetting is flashy, most of the time octopuses prefer to crawl or glide along the seafloor using their arms. They use their arms and suckers to pull or push themselves forward. It's quieter, more energy efficient, and better for sneaking around. Some species also sort of hover or float by gently undulating their arms. Certain species like the mimic octopus have been seen walking onto arms while pretending to be other animals like flatfish or lionfish yep. They're master impersonators too. Octopus eyes are straight up and credible-like, some of the most advanced eyes in the animal kingdom. They're basically underwater super cameras, perfectly designed for the octopus's wild lifestyle. Most octopuses have rectangular or slit-shaped horizontal pupils, which help them to see more of their surroundings at once, control light more effectively in shifting underwater conditions, and judge contrast in murky or low-light environments. They can also adjust the shape and size of the pupil super fast, which is key for going from bright coral reefs to darker ocean depths. Octopus suckers are like tiny, powerful hands with super senses, and each octopus has hundreds of them. They're not just for sticking to stuff, they're tools for exploring, tasting, and even communicating. Each sucker works kind of like a suction cup. It has two main parts. The infundibulum outer ring. This creates the seal, the acetabulum inner chamber. This creates the suction. When the octopus contracts muscles, it forms a vacuum inside the sucker, allowing it to grip almost any surface, even underwater and upside down. I will continue to snorkel the tide pools to search for the octopus's cousin, the cuttlefish. I looked around, but with all these amazing corals, anemones and sponges, it's hard to spot such a well-camouflaged creature. I did, however, appreciate the wonders of the ocean and all its creations we sometimes take for granted. Just look at all these colorful sea anemones. They are all under the ledges waiting to catch their prey as the tide moves in and out. Since I did not find any cuttlefish here, I decided to feed the fish, and then I will go search a place I have seen plenty cuttlefish in the past tide pool expeditions. I noticed something very familiar darting under this rock. I don't know if you can see it, but look nice. Meet the cuttlefish, part alien, part ninja, part underwater artist. Despite the name, the cuttlefish isn't actually a fish. It's a mollusk, like squid and octopus as its closest relatives. And it lives in oceans all around the world, especially near coral reefs and shallow coastal waters. Even crazier, they can hypnotize prey. Using pulsating color waves along their bodies, they stun small fish and crustaceans just long enough to strike. Flashy and deadly, cuttlefish can change their skin color, pattern, and even texture in milliseconds. They use this for camouflage, communication, and hunting. The magic happens in layers of specialized skin cells. Cuttlefish have 3 layers of skin cells. The first layer is called chromatophores. These are the most visible and closest to the surface. Each chromatophore is like a tiny stretchy sac filled with colored pigment, usually yellow, red, or brown. When a cuttlefish wants to change color, it contracts tiny muscles around the sacs to expand or shrink them, revealing or hiding the pigment. The second layer is called iridophores. Below the chromatophores, these cells reflect light using stacks of platelets like natural glitter. They produce iridescent blues, greens, and golds by reflecting and scattering light. The third and last layer is called leucophores. These reflect ambient light like a white base coat and help adjust brightness. They act like a kind of light diffuser, enhancing the effects of other colors. And check this out, their eyes are shaped like a W that gives them incredible depth perception and the ability to detect light polarization. Basically, they see the ocean in a way we never could. Inside their bodies is something called a cuttlebone. Despite the name, the cuttlebone isn't a bone at all, it's an internal shell made of aragonite, a form of calcium carbonate, same material in seashells. It's lightweight, porous, and filled with tiny chambers. The cuttlebone helps with buoyancy control, kind of like a submarine's ballast system. Cuttlefish can adjust the gas to liquid ratio in the cuttlebone's chambers to float or sink. More gas equals more buoyant they rise, more liquid equals less buoyant they sink. This allows cuttlefish to hover mid-water, move up and down smoothly, and conserve energy. Smart, sneaky, and seriously cool, the cuttlefish is proof that the ocean is still full of surprises. So next time you're near the sea, keep an eye out. There might be a master of disguise watching you. We will move on to some more tide pools in search of crabs. I will look for some true crabs and also for hermit crabs. Hermit crabs and true crabs may look like cousins, but hermit crabs and true crabs are actually from different branches of the crab family tree. True crabs have a hard, round shell and a tucked-in tail like built-in armor. But hermit crabs? They've got soft, twisty bellies, so they borrow empty shells for protection, and while true crabs grow with their shell, hermit crabs need to upgrade as they grow, kind of like moving into a bigger house. Ocean crabs are just cool to watch. They're a crucial snack for tons of sea creatures. Fish, sea turtles, octopuses, even seabirds rely on crabs for protein-packed meals. They're like the ocean's crunchy power bars, small, but super important to the food chain. In the tide pool, it's a crab's world. Until the octopus shows up with 8 arms, a razor-sharp beak, and a genius brain. The octopus is a master of stealth. It hides in cracks and crevices, blending perfectly with rocks and seaweed using color-changing skin. The octopus uses suckers to grip tight and pulls the crab close to its mouth, where a powerful beak cracks through the shell like it's nothing inside. A crab dinner packed with protein, just the fuel this sneaky hunter needs. Okay, I know cows are no ocean animals, but I am walking 2 kilometers to the top there, where I know amazing tide pools await for the next part of my expedition, and wanted to share the wonderful scenery with you all. So here, we found some blue bottles, or also known as Portuguese man-of-war. Often when there are prolonged onshore winds, these blue bottles and jellyfish will wash ashore. An interesting fact about these blue bottles are that they are actually a colonial organism made up of small units called zooids, each with its own purpose, such as hunting, digestion, and reproduction, and together they allow the colony to operate as a single individual. If you come across blue bottles that washed ashore, make sure not to touch them. They might look dead, but they can often still sting you. If you are unfortunate to get stung by one, you need to remove any visible tentacles, wash it with seawater, and submerge the affected area in warm water. In case you experience severe symptoms, seek medical attention immediately. Several marine animals actually eat these venomous blue bottles. Strange but true. Loggerhead turtles, Ocean sunfish, some sea slugs like the blue sea dragon, is particularly known for its specialized diet of blue bottles, even storing their stinging cells for self-defense. While we are on the topic of stinging creatures, let's have a look at some jellyfish. It may seem they are related to blue bottles because they share superficial similarities like long tentacles and the ability to sting. As mentioned before, blue bottles are a colony of specialist organisms called siphonophores, where jellyfish are single organisms. Jellyfish are fascinating sea creatures. They are 95% water, with no brains, hearts, or lungs, bones, and no blood. Instead, jellyfish have a simple nerve net that allows them to respond to stimuli like touch and temperature. Some jellyfish live only a few days, and some other species can live a few years, but on average jellyfish live for around 1 year. Jellyfish are carnivorous and eat a variety of small marine animals like zooplankton, shrimp, and krill, and sometimes other jellyfish. They use their stingsels to capture and immobilize their prey. Thank you, friends, for watching this far. It is the end of our expedition. We will be covering more ocean creatures in the upcoming videos. If you enjoyed our day at the ocean, it will be amazing if you can like and subscribe to this channel.